The station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Hi, great. Thanks for joining us for DC News Now at 7 o'clock. I'm Chris Flanagan.
And I'm Tasmeen Mahfouz, and we have live team coverage tonight. Katie Ree and our photog Anthony Dang, they're going to show you the holiday traffic on the roads. And for days now, our weather team, Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb, has been keeping you in the know as this extreme cold comes our way.
And Janessa, you're really concerned about flash freezing right now.
Yeah, we've had a good amount of moisture that has hit the ground this afternoon. Some spots picking about an inch of rain, and so my concern is that a flash freeze will take over. That is not precip that is coming from the sky. That's already what's on the ground is going to freeze over here after midnight. So you can see the moisture still coming down out towards Rockville, Maryland, out towards Montgomery County into Winchester. They're kind of dealing with that fluctuation of a little bit of freezing rain. Now, the Alleghenies reports of about 3 to 4 inches of snow on the ground, and then on top of that, you see a good ice layer. And the rain is actually going to continue to really taper off as it makes its way well to the north. This is the broader storm system. There's that center of circulation out towards Chicago. Just looking at reports in Chicago right now, only dealing with a little bit of light snow, but now the chill is about to impact that area along with blustery conditions. We have many spots across Cleveland to Detroit that are going to be dropping nearly 30 to 35 degrees here in the next 6 hours. We are on the warm side of this storm system, and so that's what we're actually seeing for tonight, rain and cloudy skies until about 2 a.m. Then the front wants to track in across our area, and really it doesn't get across the district until about 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So wind chill warnings and advisories, they're currently in place for surrounding counties into Fairfax, Loudoun County as well, most of Washington County and Martinsburg. We have a wind chill warning because we are thinking wind chills will get down to at least 20 to 25 below later on tomorrow afternoon into your evening. And so really that is the focal point here across the district, that we are dealing with this dangerous cold that is going to be pretty prolonged throughout your holiday weekend. We'll look at that forecast coming up.
All right, Janessa, thanks. And as the dangerous cold weather continues to make its way, some parts of our area already seeing snow, but the big question now, how safe is it to travel?
Yeah, DC News Now's Katie Ree spoke to officials and community members about how they're feeling and preparing about this weather.
We do urge you to delay travel tomorrow morning into the afternoon.
The latest winter weather system has arrived just in time for the holidays. And while it could put a damper on some travel plans, others say it's just another storm.
I grew up in this area, so snow is just another part of living around here. Yeah, I would like to go see my sister, husband, my niece and nephew. But if it's too bad out there, I'm staying in the house.
Maryland Highway Administration is taking a more cautious approach to the changing storm system.
This storm is going to produce some pretty heavy rains, too, so that switches some of our maintenance folks' gears to make sure that all the drainage is opening. Compromised drainage systems or slow drainage systems that can lead to ponding of water.
The DC News Now weather team has been warning about the risk of flash freezing after the rain stops, and it's causing crews to be on standby to navigate the tricky conditions on the roads.
Out of an abundance of caution, we will start to treat those roads, particularly the elevated roadways, the bridges, ramps, and overpasses, which freeze first.
Officials are warning people to stay off the roads until the weekend, and some are following that recommendation to ride out the storm.
The snow that's coming is definitely going to impact me from going to see any friends or family members locally that are in my area, so I don't plan on doing that if the snow's here.
One person I spoke to says he's less worried about the incoming storm, but more so if it will prevent relatives from coming into D.C.
I'm most worried about it turning into ice. I'm fine with snow. We're worried about flights being canceled or delayed because of weather. She's coming from Minnesota here to D.C.
Some are still planning to brave the roads for the holidays, but one driver says she'll wait out the winter weather.
We're leaving on Saturday morning to avoid the rush. I mean, there will be more traffic on Friday, so figure avoid the storm, avoid the traffic.
Reporting for DC News Now, I'm Katie Ree.
And as we continue to prepare for severe weather throughout our region, our weather coverage is going to continue tonight on air and online on DCNewsNow.com. And new details tonight in Montgomery County, Maryland, a Magruder High School student who shot his fellow classmate was sentenced today.
Yeah, DC News Now's Cheyenne Corinne has been following this story for us for nearly a year now. She is outside the Montgomery County Courthouse with the latest details.
So Stephen Alston Jr. will actually serve 18 years in prison for shooting and nearly killing his Magruder classmate back in January. Now, the victim, DeAndre Thomas, this afternoon was not in court, but his mother gave an emotional impact statement. She shared that her son would ask her if he would survive, and she says at times she had to lie because she just wasn't sure. Now, this happened nearly a year ago on January 21st. Prosecutors say that the then 17-year-old student pulled out a gun in the bathroom during a fight and shot the then 15-year-old victim in the pelvic area. Police say the teenagers had an ongoing dispute and planned to settle it in the bathroom. Alston Jr. was charged as an adult and pleaded guilty last month to attempted first-degree murder. He admitted to shooting Thomas with a ghost gun that he bought online. Now, Thomas was on life support for weeks and has undergone 10 surgeries. Alston wrote a statement that was shared by his lawyer, who said he was remorseful. However, a video shared in court showed him skipping in the hallway after the shooting. Now, this sentencing comes as the Thomas family is suing the county and the school system for negligence in removing school resource officers from buildings. This afternoon, we heard from the family's lawyer.
I think the defense did a very skillful job of conflating other incidents of bullying that this defendant allegedly underwent.
He spoke to the police officers about it. He was remorseful at the time that he was evaluated through the Department of Juvenile Services, and I think he demonstrated remorse in his statement.
Now, Alston Jr. will serve his time at the Patuxent Youthful Offenders Program. The judge says this sentence was intended to be a balance between punishment and rehabilitation. He also said this sentence goes beyond the courtroom, but speaks to the impact it had on the community. And this was also the first shooting ever to happen within MCPS. State's Attorney John McCarthy says that he hopes this sets a precedent that there's never an excuse to bring a gun on school grounds. Reporting in Rockville, I'm Cheyenne Karen for DC News Now.
All right, meanwhile, new tonight in the district, crime in the nation's capital has fallen compared to the year-to-date data from last year. That comes as the district deals with perception, a very big perception, that crime is out of control. Our political and government reporter, Leonard Fleming, poured through the crime numbers.
Crime statistics show a drop in serious crimes such as homicides, sex abuse, and assaults with a deadly weapon. This is compared to 2021 stats with just a week left in 2022. Some crimes are trending higher. The perception of out-of-control crime has plagued Washington, D.C. for years, but the data show that that might be changing in some categories. Homicides in the district are down 10%, with 198 so far this year compared to 220 last year. Assaults with a deadly weapon are also falling, a 17% drop from last year. Burglary, too, down 11%. Sex abuse is also on the decline, with a 12% reduction. But robberies have seen a slight 2% uptick, with 2,222 cases compared with 1,984 in 2021. And motor vehicle thefts have seen a 5% spike from last year. 2021 was a rough year with a 14% hike in murders from the previous year, so this is likely welcome news to law enforcement in the district, although police brass weren't available for comment. In the studio, Leonard N. Fleming, DC News Now. Back to you.
And developing now, police are investigating a deadly shooting in a parking garage in Montgomery County. It happened last night in downtown Silver Spring. Police say 62-year-old Charles Reynolds was shot in a stairwell of a parking garage. They say he was having dinner with his family, dropped items in his car when he was shot.
This is really tragic, and it's very different. I walk down that stairwell all the time, and I think of all the people who go down there, and the idea that that became the scene of a murder is really concerning.
And a $10,000 reward is being offered in this case. Montgomery County Police say they will have extra officers on patrol in the area until further notice.
And we have an update tonight on a Mount Airy woman who was convicted for her baby's death by fentanyl. 36-year-old Heather Murray Frazier has been sentenced to 5 years in prison. She pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter earlier in the year. In 2020, police were called after her 3-month-old baby went into cardiac arrest and died at the hospital. Police say Frazier and her husband had been mixing fentanyl in the same bathroom where they prepped their son's bottles. Well, developing right now, looks like lawmakers will make it home after all in time for the holidays after an extended overnight debate. This afternoon, the Senate passed a nearly $2 trillion government funding bill. Raquel Martin has more from Capitol Hill.
Senators were here overnight trying to iron out the final details of this plan. And with just a day to spare before a government shutdown, we're able to strike a deal early this afternoon.
We have to get out of here as quickly as possible.
With a winter storm racing toward Washington and a government shutdown looming Friday night, senators passed a nearly $1.7 trillion spending package.
Is agreed to.
18 Republicans joined all 50 Democrats to approve the bill.
We know it's not perfect, but it's got a lot of stuff in it, a lot of good stuff.
The range of people it helps is large and deep.
The bill includes $38 billion in disaster recovery funding. It expands health care coverage for veterans exposed to toxic burn pits. It makes summertime food assistance permanent and creates new protections for breastfeeding moms at work. It also includes $45 billion for Ukraine, gives raises to American service members, and updates the Electoral Vote Act to help prevent another January 6th. But the vote didn't come without its share of drama.
I urge everybody to stay in their seats.
And in the end, 29 Republicans voted no.
Enough is enough.
Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul calls the spending reckless.
There hasn't been enough time for a single person to have read this entire bill.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi says she hopes to see the bill move quickly through the Democrat-controlled House.
We want people to be able to go home.
The House is expected to pass the bill Friday morning. For Now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
All right, the Washingtonian magazine released its list of Washingtonians of the year. 11 people took home the honor, including investigative reporter and journalist Bob Woodward here. And the veteran Washington Post reporter won 2 Pulitzer Prizes, one for the Watergate scandal, of course, and for his reporting on the 9/11 terrorist attacks. The Washingtonian of the Year honors people who make our region a better place. Congratulations. Well, coming up, with these freezing temperatures heading our way, people will be using a lot more heat than usual. Straight ahead, how Congress plans to make heating more affordable.
And special teams standout Jeremy Reeves made the Pro Bowl yesterday, coming up his remarkable journey to becoming an All-Star.
And weather-wise, we have a wave of cold air. It will be our second DMV first warn day. This is some of the coldest temperatures of the year. Many spots going to drop 30 to 35 degrees in less than 6 hours. We'll look at that forecast coming up.